Hello my friends, new video today. This is my second take on this, so don't get confused if I have already some things prepared. So why do I do this video? It's basically an update on Illuvium, but recently I told you that I want to get into this project. I've had it on my mind for a very, very long time, and that's what I'm going to do in very, very short time. However, I received lots of messages from you guys in my comments, but mainly in Discord, and some of you guys have very decent strategies and it all makes sense and it's cool. However, there's some others where I'm a little bit worried, and that's, for example, when people tell me that they're currently panic buying or panic selling because either they haven't gotten into the project yet and they want to get as many as possible now, and then think it'll just times 50 their money guaranteed. Or the other side of the coin, when people tell me, oh fuck, I bought this coin at $1,000, $1,800, or whatever price, and it's almost down to zero in comparison to what they paid for it. Because token just kept on decreasing and now they're about to sell, panic sell, etc. So for either of you guys, this video right here is important. So first of all, this is by no means financial advice. Always do your own research. However, if you have no clue what to do and you're about to dump your entire life savings into this project, then this video is for you. At least to get an idea on what may be a little bit more smart to do in the long run when you would like to avoid most of the volatility or the risks, of course. So personally, I will never dump my entire money into any kind of project, be it crypto, stocks, or anything else. Not even houses or whatever. I would never throw everything I got into one single thing. Next. Once you have decided on a set amount of money, and once you've set your mind on what you would like to get, build a strategy on what to do. If you would like to just do a one-time investment and forget about it, then that's fine, you can do that, it's totally cool. But keep in mind that that's also what people did here, and here, or even here. So these people have done that. Probably at least there are some people that did that. I've read that from your personal experiences that you wrote me, and I'm assuming most of that is true. However, that's not my take on Illuvium, and that's not my idea on how to invest. Personally, I've made up some strategies when it comes to investing, and that's some that are very commonly used, which is for once buying in trenches, and for the other part of things, DCAing into it. So when do I buy in trenches? I buy in trenches when I feel there's a good project that I'm not exactly in love with, but I see potential, and I know at price X I want to get in. For that, I usually look exactly at the market capitalization. I look at exactly at how the project is built, I look exactly at my investment case, and so on and so forth. And then I build my price target and say, okay, at this price I want to get in, and at this price I want to buy more. Second strategy is DCing into it, and that's something that I do when I really love a project, when I really love a stock, and when I really want to get some, but I feel we are in a very volatile situation or time where I'm not sure if I'll hit a good price target where I buy. So then I set up a certain amount of money that I put in at a set amount of time, and I just put it in there every 4 weeks or every month, every other month, whatever. That's what I keep doing. And either way, both strategies are valid, and I think both strategies are a little bit superior over dumping everything you got at once. Why? First of all, if you do a times 100, times 150, etc., then it doesn't really matter all that much if you got in at 60, 50, or 70. However, if you bought at a very, very bad timing and you really try to time the market by putting all of your savings at once, then you're in a bad position. And then you may have a lot higher risk in being in there at a bad spot. So for example, if you've bought it like $2,000 or close to $2,000, then obviously you're in a much worse situation than being able to buy at $60. Because if this project gets to $4,000, then you've made a huge amount of money by buying in at 60, or at least on the paper. Not saying that you're going to sell or just speculate or whatever, but like on paper it's just going to be so much more compared to times 2 when you just got in at $2,000, right? So that's obvious. And of course, that could be our current $60, right? It could be that we're now sitting at $60 and things may not be going right and everything may shift a little bit more downward and we see price of like $10. Not saying that it's going to happen, just saying think of this theoretical construct. And you've dumped everything into it at 60, and then you're seeing prices of 10, 5, or even $1, and maybe in the future we rise right back again to 60, then you've evened out, or maybe panic sold, you lost everything, or you may have just recovered what you got, but if you have DCA'd into it, or bought in tranches, then you've secured not the best price, but also not the worst price. And that's where this comes in handy. So what I do for these strategies is I either do the trenches thing or I set a monthly amount. And for this, I just built a theoretical scenario. So let's say you have a total budget of $2,000 that you would like to invest into this project. And you buy in tranches. And you say, okay, I split this rate of $2,000 into 7 tranches, which is $285 per tranche. And then you say, okay, at 80, I'll buy my first, which you may have done a couple of weeks back. Then you say, okay, at 60, I may buy the next, which could have been today. I think today we briefly hit $60. Then the next you buy at 40, 30, 10, 5, and so on and so forth. Advantage of this is that you risk only a set amount of money. Second advantage is that you pretty much secure good spots and good positions. So if you hit this target, for example, then it rises back up again, then you've got a good price. And if it hits 10 and it rises back up again, you've got a good price too. If it goes down, of course, either way, with whatever strategy, you may have lost huge parts of your money if you're thinking long term. However, that's not what we're going to think about right now. So either way, you're in a pretty good spot. So what's the downside to this strategy? So first of all, let's say we're currently at $100 per token and you set your first goal at 80, then no one is going to guarantee you that you're going to hit that first rate even. So you may never even be able to invest into the project at all. Or maybe you just got the first rates through and then it goes up again and you're in a where we see a price of $400, $500, $600 per Illuvium token, and you only got to invest 2/7 of your total capital, and maybe you wanted to invest more. So first of all, set your mind on, do I really want to invest the budget that I set myself? And next thing you need to think about is, do I want to participate in this? And how much do I want to participate in this? For me personally, I really want to get into this. I want to participate. And it's not for a short-term thing. I'm thinking long-term. So revenue distribution is going to be a thing. Playing the game myself is going to be a thing. And of course, seeing some strategic outlook on the project itself is going to be a thing as well. So I want to participate. So my decision is, okay, right now we are in a decent situation. The valuation, even if we take the whole maximum amount of token, it's still in a hundreds of millions, but I think that's a fair point compared to the 2 billion that we've been at already. So that's a fine first point at buying into it for me personally. So you could, for example, say, okay, you want to get 200 per month. I think that's a good idea. Then you can just put it in there. Let's just do this. So, and then you may not be able to accumulate 125 Illuvium because you don't set your price targets and you haven't bought at these because maybe it never happens in the first place. However, you're set to get a good average price because you will have, this is a set up scenario. Of course, there's no price prediction. This is just saying, okay, what if right now it's at $67, next week it's next month it's at $80, then maybe 50, then maybe 110, we see another high up, another decline, and so on and so forth. So in total, the average price is going to be a lot better, because if you just average these out, you get like the sum of these divided by, wait, so some of these should be 7 divided by 7. Then you have an average price of 63. Of course, if you get lower entry points, then it's going to lower your average price as well. So either way, you're pretty well off, right? Because even if you, at the end of the time, it's at 30 because it crashed and the project kind of flopped in comparison to what the experience was, then you didn't really lose that much. But if you've put everything in there at like $1,500, then of course you will only be in a positive point once it reaches a similar level in the future, right? And even in here, right, if you've experienced some points where you bought in higher levels, let's just put a couple in here that were like higher, like maybe 1,100, then maybe, I don't know, 600, because that's pretty much the direction we've had. Then yeah, that's pretty accurate. Then 60 and 40. Then of course your average is going to be a lot higher than buying at 40 altogether. But even if you've first started at a very tight spot, your average is still a lot lower compared to this very tight spot. So the strategy doesn't really increase your chances, but it doesn't increase your risks either. Basically, the reason to do this strategy, or at least that's what I chose to do, is to get a good overall price. You don't really buy into all those overreactions in either scenario. You basically even it out by investing each month or at each price target, so your total price is going to be at a decent level. Of course, naturally, if this is an uptrend, if you just swap the numbers, let's say you started at 40, then it went to 60, 80, 300, 600, 1,100, 1,500, then there's of course a huge upside. Of course, if you've put everything at 40, that's a lot more upside. So I'm not saying that it's going to increase your chance of making a huge profit. You may make a lot more profit by putting all this in at the $1 mark when it reaches that point. However, no one of us can predict the market. We can only ever talk about chances. We can only ever talk about risks, and we can only ever determine the future by our own research and our own opinion on the future. So if you haven't already, make sure to watch my previous videos on Illuvium, where I talk about the release of token from pre-seed, seed phase. So I take all these things into consideration, and for all the people that are stonks and think, okay, this is going to reach moon, I have your side covered as well. I've tried to make a very neutral standpoint here, so there's a lot of upside but also a lot of downside potential. Not saying that it's going to either way. However, in order to reach a certain entry point where you feel, okay, this is going to be a place where we'd like to buy, that's where you should DCA into it, just given that you really want to be in there. Of course, it's also totally valid to say, yeah, I'm going to build my first position at $80 and my second at 60, but if it doesn't go lower, then I don't really need to necessarily invest more into this, because I have so many other projects and I don't want to over-evaluate this project, because I feel I'll only build more when it's going lower, and if you don't, then you don't. I've seen these investment strategies too from other people that wrote me, and that's totally valid, and DCAing is totally valid too, in my opinion. Of course, you can also dump everything or sell everything at some point, but those are strategies that I would hardly suggest not to do, because you may increase your chances, but your risks are also so high that for me personally in a crypto project, it doesn't really matter to me if I have times 700 or times 500, but having the losses to that degree as well, like the risks to a huge amount, like if I get to lower my potential downside by a huge margin by taking the 500x instead of the 700x, then I would rather take the 500x, right? Like losing everything is always a lot harder to compensate for if you have the upside of 700 than just losing a certain degree in comparison to the other guy that bought in at a huge price target. So it's all up to you guys. Never depend on my videos for making financial decisions, but sorry, that was a hiccup. But make up your mind and really try to strategize before you do anything, because recently there was just so much in there that I felt was misplaced. Like so many people either saying Illuvium is going to zero because there's so many tokens unlocked. This is true, yeah, of course. There are a lot of tokens unlocked. I'm totally in there. I made a video covering that, and that's a huge risk. However, the project itself is great too, and the community behind this and the game itself is great as well. And we have lots of buyers on the other side, and we have lots of sellers on the other side. There's always buy pressure and sell pressure, and only the difference between those people is going to determine the price target for the future, and this can always turn into a set amount of sides. So of course we can theoretically see $1 Illuvium in the future. That's possible, but we can also see $1,000 per Illuvium token. Either way, there are risks involved. Make sure to think hardly before you make any decisions. Personally, I would not dump all my money at current prices, but that's totally up to you. I've shown you two different strategies that I feel are going to be superior in the long run. You're at least going to reduce lots of the volatility, and of course you can determine a lot better on how much money you would really want to risk in this. So I'm not the type of guy to put my life savings into one thing. So make sure to think about this clearly. Don't panic buy, don't panic sell. That's pretty much all I get to say at this point. The prices definitely look pretty good right now, hence I'm buying very, very soon. Anyway, that's it for the video, guys. Hope you could learn something, and if not, then not sure why you were watching this to this point, since I've been telling from the very first second that you should only watch this when you are not quite clear about the investment strategies. However, either way, I wish you best of luck and a very nice return on either of these projects, or at least a lot of fun when playing the game. Anyway, that's really going to be it for the video. Goodbye, guys.